let's continue the build series here today. We are diving into the Technician build, one of the more popular builds, especially for new users of PGA Tour 2K25. So pretty excited. Episode 2, if you have not seen my first and my main build, that is the Magician. After I do all 5 of these, we'll do a video and we'll compare them all one by one and we'll re-rank them based off of what I think is best versus not. So yeah, stay tuned for that. So next up, like I said, is Technician right now. We're going to dive into that. And then the one after that one will be Sculptor, will be the 3rd video in the build series. Do not forget to like, do not forget to subscribe. This is where I would build my 99 Technician and where I will be building my 99 Technician. Now, just know, I don't have all these players, all 5 of these characters maxed out XP wise. So you're going to have to work with me, but I'll make sure to cover exactly how I would build all of these out. But this is exactly the way that I'm going to be building my Technician build. When it comes down to these ratings, we're going to cover that. So I'm going to be putting my power up to a 59. I'm going to be putting the rest of it on contact. That's going to get my contact up to an 83. Now, I know you're like 59, it's only showing 276 yards of driver, but once we put 5 fittings on the driver, it's going to get all the way up to a 288 yard driver, which is only going to be, just about 9 yards behind the longest hitters in the actual game. So you're pretty much going to have max contact, max swing path, and you're going to be in a pretty good spot when it comes to distance, where you're really only going to be about 9-10 yards behind the longest hitters in the game, which makes this build very, very viable. Like I've talked about, correction is a personal thing. If you struggle mightily with the slight meter, or maybe you don't even play with the slight correction meter, then you don't need anything. I highly recommend that you don't need anything. This is actually somebody who likes my Magician build but needs a little bit more correction. I would probably steer towards this build simply because you get a little bit more correction than the Magician without applying any points to it whatsoever. So if you are somebody, like I said, who goes onto the Magician build and you just need more correction, this build might be better for you. I'd be putting all 25 points on recovery here. This is where I would go when it comes down to these stats. Now, you do sacrifice with this build quite a bit of recovery. You really don't need shaping. I've done videos on that. It's really up to you as a person and what type of shots you hit. Obviously, there's certain people who like to really loop it into these greens or down the fairway. So it's kind of a personal situation, but I would put all of my points towards recovery if you can, and sacrifice there, because you do want higher percentages. Now, when it comes to the bottom ones here, we have rhythm, we have transition. If you've seen my video as well, I'd be putting my transition, all 25 points here towards transition. This is going to get you up to an 89, only 2 away from the actual Magician build here. So this is also in a pretty good spot. You get a little bit more rhythm. So this build is really going to be tailored towards the newer player. It's going to be tailored towards somebody who needs high swing pass, high contact, somebody who wants a little bit more correction than my main build, and somebody who wants a little bit more rhythm than my main build. One of the main things that I do love about this, I'd be putting 25 points towards putt weight, and that is simply because I found that to be the most influential stat when it comes down to putting. You get a higher putt weight just off of the rip here when it comes down to this build compared to the Magician. So that is a good spot as well. And then when it comes to putt path, I'd be putting it all towards putt path as well, as putt rhythm really was very insignificant for the majority of actual putting. So this is exactly how I would be setting up a 99 overall version of the main attributes here. When it comes down to the actual fittings that you're going to put on your clubs, you can ignore the clubs that are on the screen here. Like I said, I don't have this player maxed out simply because, I can't max out all of my players, but I'm going to put this up on the screen here to show you exactly how I would build this. I would wait, as always, till you max out all of your clubs to the blue sapphire level, and I would put 5 power fittings onto your driver. What is that going to do? It's going to get your driver from a 59 all the way up to a 79. That's going to increase your driver distance all the way up to 288 yards, which, like I said earlier, you're only going to be about 9 to 10 yards behind the highest level hitters that you possibly can go in this game. When it comes down to the woods, as always, I always recommend a 7 wood simply because it goes a little bit higher, lands a little bit softer rather than a 2 or a 3 iron, but that is personal choice. Feel free to use whatever you want. But when it comes down to woods, wedges, and irons, all fittings will be the exact same. What I would do is I would put 4 contact fittings on your clubs, and I would put 1 swing path fitting on your club, all at the +4, which is the sapphire, the blue level. Now, what is that going to do? It's going to give you a 99 overall contact. It's going to give you a 99 overall swing path, and you're really only sacrificing minimal power by not applying any power fittings on that. So essentially, you are maxed out contact, you are maxed out swing path. Your hit zones are going to be massive in this game, and you're only going to be slightly behind when it comes down to distance in this game. So that's exactly how I would set up all the woods, the irons, and the wedges. And then when it came down to the putter, this is how I would go with this. I would put 3 fittings on putt path, and I would put 1 fitting on putt weight, simply because those, as I said, are the 2 biggest factors. But if you are somebody who does struggle when it comes to like putt contact, then that's something that you might want to consider, of just putting all of your fittings on putt contact in this situation. That would be a good spot for it. But I would do 1 on putt weight, and then I would do 3 on putt path here, and get your ball started on line, making sure you're hitting the proper distances in the actual game. As always, I use the flight golf ball as well. There's a video on that if you want to know exactly why I do it. And when it comes down to the tee skills, these are going to be the exact same ones as my magician. Just remember, in order to get all 500 points, you have to hit level 100 of XP in order to get all 500. But in this situation, I have all of these on just the approach, your regular tee shot off the tee. You can find certain ways around certain things. Somebody gave a great suggestion the other day of, because I don't find rhythm to be as important, where if you just don't apply any of the rhythm aspects, so any of these ones here, but you have to in certain spots, you can sacrifice certain rhythm ones in order to get some extra skill points if needed. But when it comes down to the tee, I just have the main one. You can see here when it comes down to the approach shots, I pretty much max out my approach. I max out my pitch on both sides. I pretty much skip through those sections. And then I have off the deck maxed out, as well as spinner maxed out. Knockdown I don't really find to be very useful. I've tested it out, and there'll be a video on that in the future. Recovery, I don't ever put anything towards punch because I don't ever use punch. Maxed out pretty much everything else in this category, and I have what's it called, recovery on this, simply because I have another build up, my magician build up above the 85 overall spot. Splash shot also similar. The technician, you're gonna get this one as well for that. And then lastly, green skills, pretty much max out everything putting, everything chipping, skip through the bump and run section, max out Texas wedge other than this one spot here, and then on top of that, max out green reader, because green reader, smaller greens, bigger emphasis there. So that is the technician wrap up. Skills haven't really changed, but that's how all these videos are going to go. Obviously, I don't have all these characters maxed out because I don't have the time to throw 99s and 5 across the board, but that's exactly how I will be building this out when I eventually get all of them to a 99 overall. Do not forget to like, do not forget to subscribe. Let me know what you think down below. I hope you guys like this build. Next up, we have the sculptor build. We'll see you in another video. Peace.